Dave the Potter, Artist, Poet, Slave by Laban Carrick-Hill. To us, it's just dirt, the ground we walk on. Scoop up a handful, the gritty grains slip between your fingers. On wet days, heavy with rainwater, it is cool and squishy, mud pie heaven. But to Dave, it was clay, the plain and basic stuff upon which he learned to form a life as a slave nearly 200 years ago. To us, it is just a pot, round and tall, good for keeping marbles or fresh cut flowers. But to Dave, it was a pot large enough to stove a seasoned grain harvest, to put up salted meat, to hold memories. Each one began out of a cloud of dust, clotted clumps of clay, ground in the pug mill and carried wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow to Dave's spinning potter's wheel. With a flat wooden paddle large enough to row across the Atlantic, Dave mixed clay with water, drawn from Big Horse Creek, until wet and stiff and heavy. He threw the clay sometimes, 60 pounds at once, and nobody knew how or where it would land, except Dave. Dave kicked his potter's wheel until it spun as fast as a carnival's wheel of fortune. Like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Dave, hands buried in the mounded mud, pulled out the shape of a jar. His chapped thumb pinched into the center, squeezed the inside against his fingers outside. As the wheel spun round and round, the walls of the jar rose up like a robin's puffed breast, but only so far before its immense weight threatened to collapse. The jar grew so large, Dave could no longer wrap his strong arms around it. If he climbed into the jar and curled into a ball, he would have been embraced. Only then did he stop his potter's wheel and roll long ropes of clay between his dry, caked palms. Dave mounted these coils of clay one by one on a half-finished jar. He ran his wet fingers along the sides to smooth it all together, kicking the wheel with the heel of his foot.